Hello, Viking friends. We are sisters-in-law, Susan and Suzy, who share a surname. And because of that, the guests and crew nicknamed us the two Susies. I'm Suzy-Jane Tanner, and I illustrate the Finse series of books written by Karina Hagen.
And I am Susan Tanner, commonly known as Sue by my friends, who has a passion for travelling, and that came from studying geography at university before I went on to become a teacher, then a head teacher, and now an educational consultant.
We've known each other for 50 years, and while we have travelled with our spouses, we have never actually travelled on our own together.
I am by no stretch of the imagination a photographer, but I do like on trips to take various photographs on my iPhone, particularly of scenery, sunsets and food. And having been to Argentina and Chile before, I was very excited to return, as also this trip incorporates other places to visit.
After an 18-hour journey, it was really nice to be welcomed and taken care of by the friendly Viking staff.
So on our first night, we were able to get a booking for Manfredi's, the specialist Italian restaurant on the Viking ocean ship. And this was a real treat for me because I do love my food and wine. And I found that all courses that I had were just delicious. And our lovely waiter here was exceptionally helpful in allowing us to taste the white wine that we wanted actually to choose that evening.
Checking with guest services that it was safe to walk alone for two women, and taking the shuttle bus into Buenos Aires, we decided to explore on our own.
So having been to Argentina before, and in particular Buenos Aires, I decided along with Suzy that we should first of all visit the very vibrant La Boca area. Some photographs here are showing the wonderfully bright colours, and in this area, this was the former place where the early settlers to Buenos Aires settled. Apart from the great architecture that we saw, there are plenty of restaurants and cafes and artisan stalls that we were able to enjoy. Apart from when we sat down to have a light refreshment, if mine was fine. Yes, what did you have, Suzy?
I had a mate, which was very nice.
And I decided, because it was really lovely and hot on that day, that I would have an iced coffee. But I have to say, it was so exceedingly sweet that I only managed half of it.
After that, we walked back to the San Telmo area through the Park La Fama, where we saw the stunning Russian Orthodox church. There's beautiful domes and lovely mosaics on the outside.
Then we walked back there to a plaza in the San Telmo district, and we decided we needed another refreshment and perhaps a light lunch. So we just chose a restaurant at random in the square, sat down, and lo and behold, after a few minutes, there was an impromptu tango show, which we really didn't expect to see, but we were delighted to see.
And having seen one rather staid tango, there was another one which was much livelier. We explored charming independent shops selling antiques, local crafts, and then walked down the pedestrian Calle Florida, which was again full of wonderful shops for us to pop in and out of, to the shuttle bus, which took us back to the ship.
And actually, I found on my fitness tracker that we walked 10 miles that day. So we were rather pleased about that. Now I was in for a real treat because I love seafood, and Suzy said she would sacrifice for her going to one of the other restaurants for me to be able to see this wonderful display of seafood. It was called Flavors of the Sea. This is just one little snapshot of that. Beautifully fresh crab and langoustines and prawns, and it was just a delight for me to have such fresh fish.
It was a beautiful evening, so we ate out on the Aquavit terrace and watched the sunset, which was just stunning.
So yes, here we are, slightly windy as we depart from Buenos Aires, but wonderful to see those changing colours.
In Montevideo, we took the Discover Montevideo trip, and saw a huge bronze statue of a gaucho with his bullock cart.
And there are various different neighbourhoods, as in all big cities. And this was one that was quite a surprise to me, to find that there was actually a seaside area so close to the city centre where people were enjoying, again, the lovely sunshine on another beautiful, beautiful day.
And we came across, walking independently, the wonderful Palacio Taranco with gorgeous furniture and some really very special pictures by Spanish artists, renowned Spanish artists, and even a small Goya.
Yes, I have to say I really enjoyed looking through that house.
Yes.
As well as walking through the various streets in the old town. I was struck by this building, which I just thought was very, very pretty. And it turns out that when on a closer look at walking down, it was a bookshop. We would have liked to have more time to explore in there, but we had to go on to our next site, which was the theatre where the National Ballet is resident. And so that was, we thought, rather a lovely building too, of a totally different style.
We really enjoyed the evening performances back on the ship, such as the ABBA songbook and the Beatles songbook. And so did the rest of the audience, who were sort of bouncing about in their seats.
Exactly. Now to another one of my passions, which is yoga. I did promise my yoga teacher that I would continue with my daily practice on board. And I was delighted to find that adjacent to the spa, there was a gym where there was a space which was appropriate, very appropriate for my self-practice. It had wonderfully clean equipment that one might need for yoga. And also for me, starting at 6 a.m. in the morning, it was great to look out of the window too, to inspire me onto more elaborate poses. So I really enjoyed doing that every morning.
And while she was doing that, I went for an early morning swim, which I love swimming, and it's really nice to be in the pool first thing without anybody else there or anybody watching you. We were at sea that day. And also one of my great loves is reading. So I just adore the book selection on the ships and the huge range of novels and history books and gardening and all sorts. Really beautiful art books.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I was amazed to find that there was such great variety of music on board. It was such a delight. And in particular, the girls here on the screen with the violin and cello, Sarah and Dominica, performed at various times during the day. And here you see them providing background music for afternoon tea, whilst next to that, the images of lovely Olga, who's a superb pianist and actually took requests, and we became really part of their fan club. Mm-hmm. So here we are having dinner in another restaurant on the Viking ship. This one's called The Restaurant, and we were lucky enough on the first occasion to be in here to be seated next to the window, and guess what? We have a developing sunset going on here. And by the end of the evening, by the time we finished our meal, the colours were just amazing.
The sunsets were just beautiful throughout.
Absolutely.
I mean, just amazing, fantastic. We found the informative port talks very useful and very interesting, concentrating on heritage, culture and history, and also the excursions for the following day.
I think that was really useful.
Really useful, yes.
To give a bit of background also to the history of the places we were visiting.
And most people did attend, but it was very nice that you could also access them in your stateroom if you missed anything.
Yeah. So one of our first organised excursions was to a Welsh village from the port of Puerto Madryn.
Mm-hmm.
We travelled for about an hour and a half to a Welsh village called Gaiman. And the Welsh had settled here in the mid-19th century because the Argentinian government had encouraged Europeans to move to more remote parts of Patagonia. And so the Welsh first came to Puerto Madryn in 1865, and then clearly they spread out into the surrounding area. So we were lucky enough to be able to go to the town, where we were treated to a lovely spread of homemade cakes, and in particular Welsh cakes, along with tea. And then treated to more live music from a Welsh choir, and they actually spoke in Welsh. They actually sang in Welsh and Spanish, and it was a real treat. This is one of the old settlers' houses in the village,
and it was we were taken back to the ship, or we were actually dropped in the town. And it was a very easy walk from the ship. You can see it in the background here, along the seaside, with families enjoying Sundays on the beach together.
Oh, I particularly like this little cart, which was nobody was attending to it, but it was part of giving a little variety to the promenade, and particularly captivated by this innovative way of encouraging people to recycle their plastic bottles on the beach. So actually there was no litter there at all. And I thought actually a lot of places could emulate this. Again, here's an actual cart in motion selling lots of things for children on the beach.
And there were lots of families because it was a Sunday, so they were all out and about.
I thought it was quite interesting to find that there were also areas to sit for families, and also not in this photograph, but there were changing rooms as well that people could use during their stay at the beach.
That evening, there was Super Bowl, which was shown on the pool deck. Now, this was immensely popular amongst the American guests, but unfortunately, I have no idea of the rules.
Oh, I'm hopeless.
So
I haven't got a clue.
So in the end, we just went and had a very, very pleasant, leisurely dinner, and quite an early night.
Yes, we did. Yes. Another thing we enjoyed about the cruise was the many lectures on board. This is just one illustration of such lectures. There were lectures on wildlife, history, volcanoes, explorers, Bayeux tapestry, of which there are lots of examples on display on the ship. And again, the great thing here was that whilst it was being shown in the cinema, it was also the theatre rather. It was also possible to watch it later on in your stateroom. I also really liked the areas for quiet contemplation and reading. I was drawn to this part of the Explorers Lounge because of the amethyst there and the old geographical maps and books, etc., but with a passion for opera, I alighted on this book to try and read up on possible operas that I would like to see in the future.
And I did a book signing in the boutique of the books in the Finse series. I love meeting the guests and to hear about their grandchildren and who the books are for. Some said, "Oh, it's for me," and it's great fun. The books are, of course, written by Karina Hagen, and I'm now working on number 21, which is going to be about South America.
Oh, well, afternoon tea. We're back to food. This was on offer every day on the ship, and it's very impressive to have such a range of leaf teas on offer. I think at least I tried every single one. Mm-hmm. So it was just lovely to have new experience there. And the food, the sandwiches, the cakes, and the freshly cooked scones were delicious on all occasions.
All very self-indulgent.
Yes. But what we liked in particular was the very happy staff in the winter garden where
they were sweeties.
Absolutely. Even explaining that rather marvellous, I think it's coffee machine, which they don't use, but they showed us how it might have worked in the past. And very organised all the time, so that when you went in to have afternoon tea, the service was really very, very swift as well as gracious.
And in the evening, we really enjoyed a pre-dinner cocktail in the atrium with some music. Here's Dominica and Sarah again. And some evenings we went up to the Explorers Lounge and had a cocktail there with the guitar music.
Always, of course, taking in the passing sunset.
Yet another beautiful sunset.
There were two evenings when there were live tango shows on board, showcasing tango in the 20th century.
And most evenings we went dancing
we loved dancing
in Tórshavn, and we both love to dance, and our spouses are not so keen, so we hit the floor.
Well, not literally,
and we found that because we were two women dancing alone, other lone women came and joined us dancing, and didn't seem to said they had been shy beforehand, but were quite happy to do it. We made friends, and it's the next one.
And also, I think not only were we called the two Susies,
yes,
by staff and guests, we're also called the Dancing Queens for some unknown reason.
Oh, this might be it. This might be it. Yes, this is our attempt. The tango.
Yes, not terribly successful, was it, Susie? But I didn't fall over. It might look as though I'm falling over now, but I didn't. Yes, it must be that yoga that's keeping me upright, or slight angle there.
Yeah.
And then we were on to our next destination, which for me was a real highlight of the trip, which was to the Falkland Islands, an island that's part of the United Kingdom. And here you see some of the scenery, very rocky and craggy, but in other parts we saw horses and sheep. And then we went on our approach to Bluff Cove.
Yes, and the Bluff Cove Penguin Sanctuary was just gorgeous. We saw king penguins who sit there with their chicks under their feet, keeping them warm. And as you can see, it's a bit windy, but it's all right.
Yeah.
And then we saw the wonderful gentoo penguins. The juveniles were splashing in the sea, and they're learning how to go to sea to obviously to fish and eat. But to me, they just looked as if they were out surfing. There goes one.
Yeah. We could have watched them for hours, but of course there was a limit on the amount of time we could be there.
Mm-hmm.
And we also had the opportunity to go to a British tea room called the Sea Cabbage Cove, and again, wonderful cakes, biscuits with tea or coffee on offer as part of the trip, and with an adjacent shop next door where we picked up a few postcards and small gifts for people back home. In Port Stanley, after we arrived back from our organised excursion, we decided to walk around the town on our own. Here's just some of the houses, which reminds us really of some parts of the UK.
Yeah.
And we marvelled at Christ Church Cathedral. Inside was beautiful. I can remember seeing hand knitted prayer mats, and outside in the garden there was the whalebone arch, which I think is quite well known in the area.
And then that day happened to be Valentine's Day, and an extremely lively party was held on the pool deck. As you can see, everybody's having great fun. We were presented with the ladies were presented with red roses, which was an absolutely charming idea. And in fact, we kept ours in a tooth mug in our stateroom for several days.
Yeah, was it? It was really lovely, lovely gesture. So on to a breakfast meal, and we were having this, I think, in Manfredi's.
No. This is in a restaurant.
This is in the restaurant. So Suzy was able to have a very nice vegan breakfast.
Yes.
And I decided I'd go full pelt on this day for having eggs Benedict with smoked salmon, which I believe is called eggs Royale.
And we really enjoyed the different seating areas that were available on the ship. Whatever your mood, if you wanted to be quiet, upstairs in the Explorers Lounge, and if you wanted to sit and sunbathe, there were lovely chairs outside for doing that.
As ever, the creative chefs on board the ship had specialist occasions. This one was an Italian offer for lunch, various pastas and lots of different delicious sauces to choose from.
And here are 4 of the very, very talented young entertainers that were on the ship. Harriet, Rebecca, Josh and Sam. It was lovely to see these very talented young people starting out on their careers. And they were so sweet and friendly and happy.
So we're now sailing from the Falkland Islands towards the tip of South America, with another sunset as well. And as we were approaching a very exciting part of the trip, which was Cape Horn, there was various refreshments on offer, as you can see here. We chose to have a mimosa. I think each I had a mimosa, and I had an Armagnac coffee. So that was to celebrate the approaching circumnavigation of Cape Horn. So this is the approach to the area where I think you can possibly see a developing rainbow there. And then we're getting to the craggy peaks of the large number of islands really in this area, which I hadn't actually realised, and I know I should have done, given that I'm a geographer. But here we have one of the original lighthouses, which has been serving the area for some time.
A very coveted position, apparently, within the Argentinian Navy.
Apparently so, yes. So we're now cruising.
Mm-hmm.
And here, I think this is what we were told would be the highest point of the Cape, Hornus Island.
And is that a whale?
Well, I'm not sure I got it, Suzy. I tried my best, but I didn't. We did have a whale tracking our ship for quite some time, but I'm afraid my iPhone isn't good enough to capture that.
So that we got a certificate for rounding Cape Horn.
Exactly. Very lovely gesture too.
Then we arrived at Shire, and from there we took another scenic sail up the Beagle Channel, where we saw great colonies of cormorants and also sea lions. And
look at them there.
They're beautiful, aren't they? Lovely, very fluffy.
Yeah.
And then this wonderful lighthouse, I think it's Les Adenier, which is still operating, and with by solar power. And
I think that was incredible that it was still operating. I hadn't realised that until we listened to the lady giving the commentary.
It's very beautiful. It's simplistic design. And then we arrived at the beach where we were going to see Melgenic penguins. In warmer climates, these penguins actually have pink around their eyes because for blood pressures to allow them to keep cool.
We managed to get a close-up as well.
Yes, bless them.
Yeah. Oh, and then there were penguins in different types.
Yes, all over the town, everywhere was penguins.
We were rather enamoured of this one, showcasing a lovely jumper and these gorgeous stone ones too.
Yes.
And in the town, different types of architecture with restaurants and bars that you could also visit. And some people I know enjoyed having a huge crab meal in one of these restaurants.
Yes. And then we returned to the ship, only to be told that sadly we wouldn't be able to travel on to Puerto Arenas as planned because of the weather. However, we did notice that the ships that were going to Antarctica did actually set off, so we felt they were very brave to be going through the Drake Channel in that rough sea.
And I felt very relieved that the captain had made the decision that we weren't going to move.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, we weren't able to, because of the weather, we weren't able to visit Puerto Arenas, but safety comes first.
Yes, absolutely.
But we weren't disappointed for too long by that, because we came upon the most fabulous area known as the Avenue of Glaciers, which is now we're on the southwestern coast of Chile. And they are given various names, the ones that we passed: Hollandia, Italia, Almania, and Romanche. And for me, being again a geographer's delight here, you can see on this one, you can see the waste material gouged out by the glacier on either side. Oh, this is spectacular. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before, in terms of a waterfall coming from a glacier, but in a way it is a little bit sad that this shows about global warming,
how they're melting, yes.
And how they're melting. We've got them when they, sort of hanging valleys as well, coming down into the channels.
And as you can see, it was a lot colder than it was in the north of Argentina. So we wrapped up very warm and enjoyed walking around the deck of the jogging track or walking track. And we beautifully did our four circuits, which makes a mile.
But a pleasure to see the scenery on the way, still stunning. Oh, dinner that night. Another one of the restaurants, the chef's table. We enjoyed a tasting menu with paired wines, and this one was called the Lotus menu.
And they made me a beautiful vegetarian dish as in place of the normal menu. That was lovely. And here are the wonderful, wonderful chefs and staff. I mean, the staff are just so kind and generous spirited and friendly. We love them all.
They most certainly did. So now we're sailing towards the Amalia Glacier. Have to say I didn't really know what to expect, although I had seen some photographs. I was completely speechless, I have to say, when I saw the extent of it. As we were approaching here, just thought, oh, well, maybe there's just one feeder glacier coming into the main glacier, but no. Apparently there are 4 enormous feeders to it. And the captain was really, really kind to be able to give everybody a chance to see the end of the glacier and its bluish hues and crevasses, because he did a 360-degree turn so that everybody had a chance to see it as close up as was possible. And it's part of the Bernardo O'Higgins National Park, and this ice field here is just one small fragment of a ice field which once covered the whole of the southern part of Patagonia in the Ice Age. Now here we're moving away from the glacier, giving the view of all these different glaciers meeting to form the Amalia Glacier. There was quite a lot of clouds, so we couldn't get a full shot of that. But then the ship slowed down, and brave crew, a couple of the crew, went out to gather some small pieces of ice that had fallen from the glacier to bring on board to showcase later on.
And this was there was a taste of Argentina menu in the World Cafe, and then I did another book signing again of the World of Finse books of Karina writes, and that is the manageress of the shop.
Yeah, she was lovely,
and she was absolutely charming and set up this very nice display for me. And again, I met more of the guests and heard more about their grandchildren.
Here's the ice on display.
Yes, I don't know why it looks that very vivid blue. It must be something to do with the lighting, I think. But it was stunning.
Yes, they had it in bowls, didn't they?
Yes,
to catch the meltwater.
Yes, unfortunately, it's apparently not hygienic to have it in your drink, which is a shame. Quite fancied it. Oh, then that was a treat, wasn't it?
Absolutely. We weren't aware that there was going to be a showing of Tornadot, but I was in seventh heaven because it was just such a marvellous traditional performance, and we thoroughly enjoyed it.
We both just loved it. Yes.
Oh, and now on to the spa. We thought we'd try out all different parts of the spa. So here's the sauna, and here's the swimming area, and the jacuzzi part of the swimming area, of which there are lounges all the way around.
But we did pass on the ice room.
Yes, we just opened the
snow room.
Yes, we opened the door and
had a look
and came out again very quickly. Yes. And also we didn't
do the cold water over your
no, we didn't.
Bucket, no.
Sorry about that. So, we're just not tough enough as British. And I also had a treatment in the spa.
Now we're coming on to the fjords, the Chilean fjords, and the fjords are formed when glaciers retreat, and they're part freshwater and part salt, with actually quite a unique aquatic wildlife. And that was a wreck. That was apparently a famous wreck. Anyway, onto
more delights on sushi. I have to say, I've never seen such beautiful displays of all sorts of fish, including one that I hadn't tasted before, which was butterfish. And so, again, wonderfully fresh and delicious.
we enjoyed looking at the traditional Norwegian bunnads that are on display on the third floor. They really are delightful, and I really fancy one, but I think as an old Brit I'd look a bit silly.
Well, it's certainly your style, Susie, I think. Yeah, it's this one on the left, I think.
Yes. And then the next trip was Puerto Montt, which architecture reflects the German settlers who first moved there in the 1850s. It's known as the City of Roses.
Yes, this is from Puerto.
Oh, not from Puerto Montt. We went inland to
Puerto Varas.
To Varas, yes.
Yeah.
And it's known as the City of Roses, and it's got really beautiful flowers and beautiful scents.
Very heady. Very heady indeed. Yes. And on one street corner, there was this lovely fresh fruit and corn for people to buy. That's absolutely amazingly stylish textiles, such vibrant colours there. I wish I could have bought one now.
I think they were the best we've seen, but we didn't know that.
No, we didn't. And we were a bit hesitant.
And there is free time for looking around, but there's not quite enough for shopping. You need a bit more time.
But we did succeed in this shop because I was looking for some small gifts for my grandchildren, and to have these choice from these homemade delights was excellent. And then by the side of the lake in Puerto Varas, which is actually the second largest lake in Chile, I took what I consider to be my best photograph of scenery in the trip, because we managed to get, after much waiting and numerous photographs, we managed to get one where the cloud cover was away from the summit of the Osorno volcano with two albatrosses.
Yes, very, very, very charmingly flying by at the right moment.
Yes, very kind of them.
Yes.
And just another view there of the lake with another volcano in the background, very tranquil.
And when we got back to Puerto Montt itself, we decided to walk down to the fish market, and
so here's some of the
little boats who actually the fishing boats who supply the market, and we were walking through the handicraft market, which is very nice, and
some lovely
painted buildings.
Yes.
They're really beautifully done.
No,
we did stop.
Yes, we did stop. We didn't stop for a fish meal, but we thought we had to try the pisco sour and an empanada.
We had an empanada, yes. And there we saw a young man who obviously enjoyed visiting the fish market because he was just flaked out
and covered in fish scales.
Yes, we covered him with scales.
But amazingly, we got so near to him, just fast asleep.
Yes.
What he would do if he'd eaten all that fish.
Yeah.
Here's more tastes of South America cooked outside the Aquavit Terrace part of the World Cafe. Such jolly staff again.
Yes,
so proud of what they do.
Yes, and so friendly.
Yes, and there was opportunity to actually taste some pisco sours on the boat as well that day, and
then we had some Munch moments again, accompanied by Olga's beautiful piano playing, and it's just lovely. The early part of the evening to just sit and watch this beautiful artwork being shown on the big screen.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And there's another gorgeous sunset. Can't get enough of them.
So this was the occasion where there was a formal goodbye to all the staff on the Viking ship. Incredible to see them all together, and wonderful for us to have the opportunity to show our appreciation for all that they did for us on this marvellous cruise.
Yes, they really couldn't have been better in any way.
Oh, and then this is our last port of call, Valparaiso, which is a gateway to Santiago. So this is where we docked. It's a town which has many hills and some funicular railways, and it was indeed a major port before the Panama Canal opened, and sadly had declined since then. And there was various tours you could have gone on here, including one where you would have seen some marvellous street art.
Mm-hmm.
But we decided upon Santiago.
Yes, we particularly wanted to go to Santiago.
So on the way, the journey, which lasted about 2 hours, passed very quickly because we went through some lovely scenery, including the vineyards of this southern part. The central part, really, where
Chile.
Yes, where white wine is most of what they grow there.
And then when we got to Santiago, we had a short walk through the centre, where this is the Royal Palace, I think, or the Parliament Building, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an area of sort of turn of the last century French style buildings. This is the stock market, the old stock market. And then we met these very nice police horses,
And very well behaved,
just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And then we were off to another district of Santiago to have time to visit a artisan market, handicraft area, which was very lovely, laid out well. There was a little cafe there. We found we would have liked more time there because we wanted to see, because it was also very individual and there were some different things that we hadn't seen anywhere else.
Beautiful lapis lazuli,
and leather things. But I think we visited as many of them as we could in the hour that we had to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was whisking off for lunch.
Yes. We went to a restaurant for lunch. It was the restaurant was actually charming, but we'd have rather had more time on our own, sort of looking around, I think.
Yeah.
But still.
So here's to us saying goodbye to our friends in, guess where, with the Viking band. And also our last dancing opportunity of the cruise.
And these are our mainly dancing friends. The same people were there most evenings.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening to us, and I hope you've got a flavour of this amazing cruise. Thank you, Viking, for the wonderful cruise. We thoroughly enjoyed it. We loved being able to visit the different countries. There was such a variety, including the cities that we were able to visit, the scenery we were able to see, to experience so many splendid sunsets, to see glaciers, to round the Horn. I mean, it was just amazing.
And penguins.
The
penguins were terrific. All the wildlife was wonderful, but penguins were the tops.
Absolutely.
And the crew were absolutely wonderful. The ship is beautiful, comfortable. Food was great.
Yeah.
It's just everything was, we had just had a lovely time.
We had a great time.
So thank you, Viking.
Thank you very much, Viking.